All right. So, all right. So actually, like overall, I thought class did well on this. I mean, this was, I mean, for a lot of people confusing. Like, I think sometimes like in journalism, like people kind of maybe, and I've done this before, believe me, overthink a little bit. Maybe even think like, is that really a story? That's kind of my hunch, you know? Um, and so, I mean, what I was looking for here was basically just, you know, something that kind of gave people some sort of an idea what to expect next couple weeks. That's all. So I think that there were some people who are not here. I was hoping they would see this, but but anyway, this is Caitlin's story right here. So here on. So anyway, so what I was looking for here was basically, again, some sort of general overview, what to expect. I mean, again, nothing scientific here, anything like that. Okay, just, and again, I mean, again, my hunch is like, you know, basically like people might be thinking, why is this a story? Well, again, this is the most popular story on the web, and I mean, right here, what Caitlin had here was basically what I was looking for in terms of a lead. Okay, what feels like the beginning of summer will come to an end over the next 2 weeks as temperatures cool and rain showers approach ahead of Easter weekend. When you do a rewrite of this, you can still pretend it's like you're writing this before Easter weekend. You don't have to update this, okay? All right. I think one of the main issues I saw was that I saw people basically doing a story like this, basically no lead. You know, just kind of jumping right into the temperatures and the particular days and this sort of thing. I mean, this basically essentially forms a body of the story. What I said was basically to come up with like a general lead that kind of sums up, much like any lead would in a story, what to expect in the next couple of weeks. Okay, and then I noted in the you know, our virtual class the other day that basically Easter weekend, you know, it kind of hit me like what during the class. That's coming up. So obviously people are going to be looking for that. And we actually ended up having a nice weekend. So as it turned out. So so anyway, I thought that was a good way to start. And again, the way to think here, again, this is the whole idea, reason why we're doing this digital journalism thing, is we're not just like we're trying to write a story, but we're trying to write a story that would work well on the web. Okay. So when you think of a lead, you think of like, again, what might work as like a tweet. Okay. What might work is like something they post on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Okay. Because usually that's what they take is that first sentence, that first paragraph. Okay. You want people to actually read the story. You want them to actually kind of get sucked into the story. Okay. So, and then what Caitlin has here essentially is, so then she highlights particular days. I mean, some people went in chronological order, which was fine with me too. But like certain days that like might be like more interesting than others. Okay. That particular day actually was probably like the worst day. I guess when you wrote it, right? But I guess we did have actually some thunder and some storms and stuff like that day. So that actually turned out to be true. Okay. You know, so basically what I showed somebody was, I mean, actually what I showed during the Thursday class was this. I mean, you can almost do this. May not work. Go. You go here. Worry about feedback. You go here. The body of your story is almost like right here. Okay. It's almost like write a lead. All right. Let me just use her story down at the bottom. You could like essentially write a lead. You know, something summarizes next week or two, and then take like this stuff right here and essentially just almost like cut and paste or copy and paste, okay? And put it right here, right? And then again, highlight the particular days that are probably maybe more important to somebody. You know, particular days where there may be like the weather might be more interesting, might affect people's commutes, things like that. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that? Rewrite for this, by the way, is due a week from today. All right. All right. So, you know, temperatures are actually then they cooled down. How about that? Yesterday was actually cold, right? You know, just kind of going over things here. Actually, let's look at solves too here. You know, the weather was like warm on Thursday. Sol point out, wow, first time in like 81 years, it's gotten that high, huh? Easter Sunday was a little bit cool, but then the weekend temperatures dropped. But then, you know, some rain expected to come this week, you know. And notice, by the way, that this was actually another thing that I saw people weren't necessarily attributing. You know, you don't have to necessarily attribute every single graph to a source, but just something, just basically something occasionally, just basically lets people know where this is coming from. He has AccuWeather here, okay. You know, a lot of people didn't, you know, Caitlin did National Weather Service. And she got this graphic from National Weather Service, okay. There were no problems with the graphics. You know, they all came from the public domain and represented what was supposed to happen, okay? You know, Tuesday, 68 degrees, possibility of rain. Actually, now I'm looking at the updated forecast. Looks like it's going to be like worse than they first expected. Rain's going to be heavy at times, breezy, low around 41, but, you know, cool down, low around 38 at night. 59 will be the highest this day. Then I guess it'll supposed to warm up toward the end of the week. All right. So yeah. I mean, another reason why I do this assignment is because I'm trying to think of like, okay, so let's say you did actually like wanted to go and pursue a career in journalism. What would be the first story you would do? Well, they're probably not going to give you a story on, you know, to go investigate, you know, the president, you know, sleeping with, you know, rumors of the president sleeping with, I don't know, Joe Biden. What's his name, Holloway? You know, or something like that. They're probably not going to give you something like that. They're probably not going to send you to Ukraine to write about the war, okay? You know what they're probably going to do? They're probably going to say, oh, like, we need a weather story. So you ought to be prepared for that. And like I said early on, like I remember like 33 years ago, when I was first handed this assignment, I was like, oh my God. And then like they always, you know, it was funny because I would work at papers in New Jersey and even in Pennsylvania, and they would say like, oh, you're from the Jersey Shore. Why don't you go cover, you know, beginning of the summer season, this sort of thing. Or why don't you go cover like, you know, the weather's been supposed to be nice this weekend. Why don't you go down to the boardwalk and go interview the people, and, you know, hit the frogs and stuff like that, or shoot the water pistols, you know. And I'd be like, oh my God, really? You know, so yeah. That's what we would have to do. So, all right. So anyway, and then, you know, at the end, we just kind of get like, this is again, so this might have been confusing to people, okay? You know, earlier stories that like the COVID mandates, that was a reaction story. That's actually universally known as like a reaction story, okay? That's where you basically have a story based on reaction. This actually was a news story. This, I mean, a general straight news story. It was more about, you know, the weather, not the reaction, okay? So in terms of priorities, the reaction was actually a much lower priority in this story, and I was asking it to put it at the bottom, okay? Some people had it kind of like mixed in with everything else, but you know, Rachel Chang, a sophomore at Rutgers, says New Jersey weather is something she is always worried about. Chang says she moved from Hawaii to New Jersey. Wow, 2 of 10. New Jersey. That's quite a change, huh? Wow, why they move from Hawaii to here?
And then afterwards, they weren't even born in Hawaii. They were born something they were Hawaii when they were little.
Yeah.
And they came here for college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. When she first came to New Jersey, she brought some clothes. This is exactly the kind of anecdotal stuff I was looking for. It's basically something that people can relate to. And that goes down at the bottom. What that just does is just adds a little more color to the story. Makes it more relatable, that sort of thing. So it's not just gray weather report. All right. So that's what I was looking for there. Okay. Do we have any questions on that? Okay, so what I'd like to do actually in this class is actually like talk about we only have 2 weeks left. Okay, so I've gone over a bunch of times the data journalism assignment, what to do there. But I'll go over it a little bit again. Okay. Again, the idea here is looking for, again, I did this in my other class, and as I explained the other day, I think people were a little bit confused by they were a bit confused by the whole idea of what is the latest thing? What is the latest thing that's happening here? Again, this is a story about a trend. Okay, so again, the whole idea here really is to just basically Rutgers tuition. Do the first place probably just start as like a search. And then you get the information right there. And then what I want to see is basically like in that first paragraph is you identify the trend. Okay? I think there's another assignment that a lot of people will take. So it's just simply looking for that trend and then highlight our years where like maybe the trend is bucked, the trend doesn't stay on, course, okay, year or years, okay. Also, so the trend, and then like maybe there's particular years where again I could give this one away again. It's this other day, and that is 2.9% was the highest increase. Yeah, I forget which year it was, but But again, that's something you basically find through your research, and the research is, I hate to use that word, is just by like compiling the information for each year and seeing which one was the highest. So that's another year you can highlight. Okay. And again, the idea is that probably the best place to go. This is a website I told people to stay away from because I'm not sure how accurate it is. Let's see here. It's interesting. The news release is actually not popping up. Actually, if I add hike, that's right. If I add hike to the Google search, I think it pops up. There we go. That was the first year in the 5-year trend. And again, you get information like right here that, gives you like their reasons again for why it's going up. And then again, at the bottom, much like we did with the weather story, you get reaction. And actually, I did put a discussion point for that, so please contribute. But I'm also going to give you guys an opportunity to also like talk in class and give a reaction too. So that is not the main part of the story. The main part of the story is actually the trend. Okay. So what I like to do actually right now is actually spend time on that. Okay. Like you guys to do is actually I'll like see if you can actually try to find that trend. Okay. Maybe I'll spend the next do this till about 4 after. Okay. And basically just do it the way I've described the last 2 classes. And then like just kind of whisper to me what you think the trend is, what was. Okay. All right. I actually want to I want to work on this in class and not just like defend for yourselves out there. I want you to work on it, right? Yeah, that's always being a person, right? So want to be able to look over your shoulder and see if you're on the right track, okay? All right, so how about we do that until about quarter after on that clock, okay? Maybe 10 after, 10 after quarter after. And I'll be popping around and see how you're doing, all right? All right. Thanks.